Ian Morrison and Damon Beesley, but they are probably the most immature men you'll ever meet. They're both about 40 and both have the mental, they're still mentally about 17, which is why I think the show works so well and their writing's so good. But kind of one of the many things that they've done that kind of influences the way that we all are on set is that we were doing the film and Joe Thomas had his single coming up, the guy that plays Simon with the Statue of Liberty quiff, and he in these moments in filming where you have a little 5 or 10 minutes to do nothing, he saw a big pack of Haribo, you know, very sugary sweets, where he was just kind of like, I reckon I could eat all them in 2 minutes, and we were like, well, you clearly can't do that, that's impossible. But the writers, rather than kind of saying, that's silly, you've got your single coming up, you know, we need to kind of crack on, we're losing the light, time is money, all that stuff, they went, oh yeah, I'll bet you a tenner that you can't do it. And so Joe Thomas was stuffing all of these sweets in his mouth within 2 minutes. To be fair, he did quite well, but obviously didn't do it. Then had the biggest sugar crash you've ever seen a grown man have, and couldn't really complete the day's filming, because he was just like kind of on the sofa, passing out because of a sugar crash. But that again is just like, that's the writers, that people that are supposed to be controlling us, that are kind of fueling that kind of mentality and those kind of practical jokes and things like that. So yeah, it's all down to them really. Everything about the show is down to them, because a lot of what happened in the TV series genuinely happened to them. Like, again, who's seen the series? Woo! So you know the scene where we're about to get on a roller coaster and the character of Will has to go and pick up inconsiderate asshole. Ian Morris genuinely did that. That's a true story. Oh, and he did that in his early 20s. So, he also was offered sex at university by a girl, just kind of came up to him, and instead of going, yeah, I'll take that, he took his shoes off and started skidding across the thing. Let's get to know each other, why don't we skid? Come on, let's get to know each other. Needless to say, he did not get laid that. Yeah. Anyone else with a question? Yeah.
Out of the 4 of you guys, who is most like their character in real life?
It's a tricky one. I would say probably Joe Thomas, who plays Simon, because the character of Simon was based on Damon, the other writer, and Will was based on Ian. And but Damon is very normal, and Joe's a bit weird, and the character of Simon over the years has become slightly weirder and weirder and more angst-ridden, and so I think that's something that Joe's very much brought to the character, so him slightly. James, who plays Jay, would say he's nothing like his character. That's a lie. But he's not quite as close to his character as Joe is Simon. Anyone else? Yeah. We're not sure at the moment. The British press have said that there will be, but they say a lot of things. So, I mean, I'd like to think that there hopefully will be, but it's very early days. There's no kind of script done yet or anything for like. There's potentially a second movie, and hopefully we can get something together. But there's nothing set in stone yet, and you know, I'm just not sure at the moment. I don't want to get people's hopes up or anything like that. So we'll have to wait and see.
What's your favourite memory of working on set?
There's a few, to be fair. It's a really fun set to be a part of. It's really unprofessional, if I'm honest. But there's one moment where I just could not stop laughing, and that is in the series. There's the episode where we all go to like an underage disco, and we hide in the toilets from the police that are about 12. And there's the scene is basically James is here, Joe's here, I'm sat on the loo with the trousers around my ankles, and Simon Bird, who plays Will, just opens the door and is just like, what is happening? And just, when I was just sat there, trousers around my ankles, just watching that door open and his funny little face just appeared, I just could not control myself, and we were all just laughing non-stop for about 20 minutes, and we had like Ian and the director, Ben Palmer, being like, guys, we need to get this now, we need to, no, we're on it, I'm fine. Just could not stop laughing. It was one of the funniest things ever. Yeah.
Why did the series end if it was such a big hit?
Well, I think British series are slightly different to American. We do cut things shorter. That's just kind of how we do things. But also, obviously, the whole idea was that we wanted to do the movie as well. Like Ian and Damon had the idea of doing a British teen comedy because there are none. There's so many American teen comedies that are brilliant, like you know, First American Pie film and Superbad and all that kind of stuff. And I think they really wanted to do a British version of that, and I think they felt lucky to use the characters that they've had for 3 years in that, not having to start from scratch, you know? So we moved on to the movie, and I think, if I'm completely honest, if we do anything else, it would probably be a movie, because all of the people upstairs, there's a lot more money in movies than there are in TV series, especially in Britain, and so if anything more would happen, I think it would be a movie, but I'm not sure. And I think the movie itself is a nice way to end it anyway, them going away, because it is very much what those characters would have done. You know, I went on one of those kind of lads' holidays when I was 18. Pretty much everyone does. It's like a rite of passage when you go away without your parents, and I think that was the perfect way to end it for those guys if it does end there.
In the movie, was the dance scene choreographed, or did that just happen?
It was kind of choreographed, but we had a rehearsal period where we fooled around a lot and just went, yeah, that's funny, that works. I think basically we kind of were told, here's some music, go down to the girls. I kind of knew what I was going to do because I kind of had that from the series, and the other guys just kind of came up with stuff. But Joe, again, I don't know if you're aware how much who plays who's on it. Joe that plays Simon, he I think that's probably his best moves. But it's kind of amazing because as someone that, if I do say so myself, can actually dance, has an element of rhythm about them, to watch someone whose upper body and lower body move at completely different rhythms is one of the most bizarre things. It's kind of like a that kind of weird thing that he does, top half and bottom half are not in sync at all, and it's quite impressive to watch it live. So yeah, it's kind of half and half. Yeah.
Was it ever particularly awkward to film some scenes like the locker room and
Do you know what? What was the London one again, sorry?
the night out of London, you know, bathroom scene.
Oh yeah, do you know what? No, that wasn't bad at all. I tell you what, the most awkward thing I've ever filmed was in the movie, because basically, you know, all of the kind of like the dry humping scenes and all those kind of things. Now, if you're working with an actress that you've known for a few weeks, like the 4 girls and 4 guys did, we got to know each other very well, and they were a great bunch of girls as well, and you know, you can kind of have a laugh about it and kind of be like, oh, we've got a dry hump now, isn't this ridiculous? So you just kind of get on with it. But with the scenes where I am with some of the more elderly ladies, it's literally a case of, hi, nice to meet you, I'm Blake, right, I'm going to have my fingers down your pants in 2 minutes. Let's crack on with that. That's kind of, there's no icebreaker there, you know, it's just, it is what it is, you both know what's about to happen, and it's incredibly awkward and horrible, but it's funny, so you just have to kind of get on with it, really. Yeah?
Was there a degree of improvising, and if so, do you have any favorite improv?
Do you know what? It's so heavily scripted, we very rarely get to improvise at all. And again, that's a testament to what Ian and Damon do. Their writing is so good, and they don't want us messing it up, so they don't allow us too much improvising. If you are in rehearsals and you say, how about I say this line instead, or how about I add this line, and it actually gets in, that's kind of like a hallelujah moment. It's like 1 in 100 that actually get in, so you feel about 10 feet tall when you get something in, but no, short answer is there's very, very little improvising at all. Yeah.
Have you ever actually been on a caravan holiday?
No, I actually wanted the idea of going on a caravan holiday. I'm sure they're dreadful. Yeah.
What is the accent?
Well, for once, I actually know what's going to happen. Usually it's just that I've ended that job. I'm unemployed, don't know what's going on. But I've got 2 sitcoms to do when I go back home, one for BBC and one for Comedy Central. But I highly doubt they'll come out here. So you'll have to get it on the internet if you fancy it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
How are you cast as the part of Neil?
Well, dumb face. That's just walked in there. Like, that's a gormless face. We'll have that. No, it was I was the last one, I think, kind of to be cast. James Buckley, Jay, he was in the pilot and played Neil in the pilot, and they actually recast him for Jay because they realised he had a talent for bullshitting. Joe and Simon had worked together before. They were at Cambridge together, and they were very, very good friends, and they did a show for Boark, the company, like a radio show thing, and they asked to audition for this show, and Ian and Damon said, no, you're way too posh, so you can't audition for this show. And then, you know, it got round to a few more auditions. They hadn't found the right guys. They then said, okay, why don't you guys come in and we'll have a look at you guys. And they went, oh, actually, this really works. And I was right at the end, just came in. Oh, I didn't have an agent or anything. It was an open audition on what we call Spotlight back home, which is kind of like a directory of actors, basically. I'd just finished drama school a little bit before, and yeah, just like open audition, recall, and finally got the part. And yeah, but funnily enough, I read the script and the kind of sides that you get to go into the audition, and I was thinking to myself, right, well, I definitely won't play Will, because I'm not, you know, upper class enough for that, or I'm not intelligent enough for that. And I thought, I definitely won't play Neil, because that's too dumb, I won't be that guy. And I thought, you know, I'll be the hopeless romantic type. I thought, if anything, I'll probably be Simon, or potentially Jay. And when I get in there, she went, right, you read for Neil. I was like, oh, brilliant. So this is going to go badly. And as I say, lanky body, dumb face, jobs are good. So, at the back, yeah.
It kind of relates to what you were just saying. Do you get people prejudging you based on your character? Because you're actually, you know, you're quite charming in your open life.
Stop it. What's your name? Do you know what, I don't know. It's not been too bad kind of acting wise, because I got to do I don't know if anyone knows a show called The Increasingly Poor Decisions of Todd Margaret.